Well, it's a rainy day. We've had a drizzling of rain out here this morning. Everything's slightly damp. I wanted to show you in the greenhouse. I've got some things coming up. Now, these are the trays that were lastly planted, so nothing's coming up in them. I planted in stages, and these were the things that were last to be planted. Now, here are the things that I pulled out of the greenhouse. This is a variety of zucchini and squashes, and they've already got their second sets of leaves. Here's the pickling cucumbers and some of these things that I've got coming up. Some of the marigolds and the coreopsis, or the coleus, and some celery. My nasturtiums are looking bad. Here are the pumpkins that I got out of the recycling bin. Tomatoes. The basil that I repotted. Here's some more basil. You can hear the birds this morning. It is, I'm in the city, but I have a lot of birds. It'll be time to go ahead and get the garden plot ready here before we know it. And start making a place to plant all these seedlings. My chicken boots are by Sloggers. I'm not sponsored by Sloggers. I love Sloggers. Have worn them for many, many years and will continue to wear them. I think they're the world's best gardening shoe and boot. Let's go get the eggs. Good morning, Ollie. I'm going to add a handful of elderberry leaves in with the chicken feed this morning. Because elderberry have been proven to have antibiotic effects for chickens, natural antibiotic effects. So I'm just going to harvest some elderberry leaves. We're actually going to plant some elderberry by the chicken fence so that they can help themselves to the elderberry whenever they want it. So pretty. I just love them. I have 2 Buff Orpingtons. Those are the red ones here. And I have 9 Americanas. I think that lavender Americana is beautiful. I like his colors. And I love their eggs. The Buff Orpingtons lay brown eggs, and the Americanas lay greenish blue eggs. Ollie is a lover. He would let you pet him all day if you would allow that. So here's the area where the garden's going to go. It's just not a very big patch, but it's going to go straight across here. We're going to move that wood and those wood chips and work the wood chips into the garden area. And we'll have to get that prepared probably this weekend and get ready to plant those seeds. Maybe the following week, the following few days, or the next week after that. But this is the area right here where the little garden is going to be this year. We planted the Arkansas black apple tree. It's not supposed to be a real big apple tree, so it should have plenty of room to grow. You can see our red clay soil right there. That's what we deal with here. We have this red clay soil, and that's the way it is until we get it amended. I am ready to get some of these things in the ground. I haven't planted many flowers this year. The garden seems to be full with the perennials, but I do have a few zinnias and things planted, and that's coming up that I'm looking forward to having out there in the garden. Can't stress to you enough how economical it is to start your plants from seeds. Just for the price of seeds, your starting soil, and something to grow your plants in, which we know doesn't have to be expensive, you have some beautiful big plants to go into your garden area or into your pots or wherever you grow your vegetables. I'm tempted to go to these places that are selling plants that are already up and blooming and to set those out. You know, they've been grown in a big greenhouse, and they're all ready to go. But I've started to grow more from seed now more than ever, because you may have to wait a little while and do a little extra work to get those things planted, but the payoff is great. You can grow just what you like. There's less transition shock from a greenhouse because you're able to harden your plants off in the environment where they're going to grow. So sometimes you have really good results starting your own plants from seeds. So I think that's the best route for me to take, is to just be sure I go ahead and grow everything that I want to plant. So I'm going to make breakfast this morning for myself. I'll get this cast iron pan heated up. Fry some of these eggs. While my cast iron pan is heating up, I'll talk to you a little bit what I've got laid out here. We're trying to eat the last of our last year's garden things that we have around here. I've got crowder peas, so I'm going to put them in a pot today. And then acorn squash. I've got a few of these left, so I'm going to go ahead and cut these and bake them and chop them up and use them. Maybe freeze them, or we'll eat some for supper, but then I'll have some to put in freezer bags and put up. They'll be ready the next time I make soup. I've got some muscadine grapes here that we grew from our vine, so I'll have to make some jam out of these. That's the things I have laying out of the freezer to work with today. We eat our oldest eggs first. Some of these eggs are really tiny, but they're beautiful. I love the color of them. Of course, this time of the year, we eat a lot of eggs. Because we have a lot of them available. I'll be making a quiche here before long. That's an excellent way to use up some of your eggs. Of course, we use a lot of eggs in our recipes and our dishes. Salt and pepper. I'm going to pair my eggs with some potatoes. Kind of like hash brown potatoes. I usually don't eat a lot of potatoes or anything that's high in carbs. But I love potatoes. That's one of the things I really miss in my diet. So I'll be enjoying some of those today. Now I'm going to heat them up in the same pan I made the eggs in. They're already good and done. All they need is to be reheated. So I'll go ahead and let those reheat. And while that's going on, I'm just going to throw my crowder peas in the crock pot. I'm going to need a little bit of seasoning in this crock pot. That looks like a lot, but remember, we've got a lot of crowder peas. We've got 2 quarts of crowder peas. I'm going to take some of the frozen onions I had out of the freezer and add those. And since it's in the crock pot, those frozen onions will be perfectly okay. Of course, you can use any frozen onions just like you would fresh, but they'll have plenty of time to unthaw while I'm cooking them in this crock pot. These have already been hulled and rinsed. Crowder peas from our garden from last year. So I'll just add those. And I'm going to add water to cover. And I'm going to add a splash of vinegar to these. I just like the way the apple cider vinegar helps to soften and add flavor to these. So that's about maybe a quarter of a cup. Add about a teaspoon of salt. You know, it's really important to eat the stuff that you grow out of your garden to get the use out of it. You went through all that time and energy to start the seeds and to put it in your garden. So when it comes harvest time, you want to be sure to make the best use of your garden produce that you harvest from that garden. I'm going to add just a little bit of garlic to these. Crowder peas don't have a lot of flavor. They're kind of bland, mild in flavor. So they can take a little bit of spicing up. They're kind of like a black-eyed pea in a way. Well, there we have them. I'm going to let those cook. They'll go with our dinner, our supper tonight. Well, I'm going to go ahead and have my breakfast. Thank you for joining me today.